retirement can redefine your marriage for better or for worse.
Better or worse? Did I say that to us when we got married?
I think for...
Did I make that vow?
You did.
I don't think so.
Oh, come on.
Oh, maybe. But this new chapter, retirement, brings both opportunities and challenges to your relationship.
You know, while divorce rates are down in the U.S., gray divorce, which is divorce over the age of 50, is on the uptick. We don't want you to become part of those statistics.
No, this video is going to be great. We're going to give you, is it 25 tips?
For
a healthy marriage.
In retirement.
In retirement. And I want you to pay attention to this.
I'm going to.
And me too.
All right.
All right. Now, if you're new here, my name is Mark, and this is my wife, Jody.
And we don't focus on the financial aspects of retirement, but rather lifestyle, health, relationships, and more.
So if you like this video and you like watching us, please hit the subscribe button and the notification button. And we would be forever grateful if you could share this with someone that you care about who's on their retirement journey too. So I don't know if we've got, I can't think of a story that really resonates with. Listen, we know people who get divorced. They retire, one retires, and the next thing you know, they're divorced. And it's probably because they spent all their time apart, then they're together, and it can be difficult.
Well,
right?
I also think, as people are together for longer and longer periods of times, without good, healthy communication, people change, and you either need to acknowledge and embrace the change or discuss and discourage the change, whatever your thing might be. But it all comes back down to how important that core unit is.
Yeah, and I think that for sure, the marriage that you had when you began was super special. That's why you got married, and then you had children, you had your careers, and now it's time to rebuild it because times are different, and you want to have a good, healthy, happy marriage for sure. And that's what this video is all about.
Absolutely.
Now, before we jump into the teaching, there's a quick download that we'd love for you to look at if you haven't received it yet on the downsizing dilemma. It's one of our most popular downloads. So take a look at that because that's something that comes up in a marriage discussion as well once you hit retirement. So,
and stay till the end because we're going to give you 5 action steps to begin the process of building your stronger marriage.
That's key. You're going to love that.
Yeah.
So what's the first step or the first thing we want to talk about for a healthy marriage?
I feel like this is the first step in quite a few of the videos we do, especially as you're in retirement or entering into retirement, and it's really communication. Communication is key. Establishing daily check-ins, sharing retirement expectations and goals, discussing any changes in roles and responsibilities that may come up, and also addressing any unresolved issues and addressing them calmly, right?
Well, so yeah. So you,
yep.
So I'm just trying to think communication. And we, like you said, we do a lot of this. This is so important. And some people don't even let the conversation start. And that's bad. They hold back. I think men in particular, they're afraid to be vulnerable with their wives because they don't want to. They're afraid of how you might react, let's say. So they don't really want to open up how they feel.
Right.
But this is something we all need to get over to be able to, in a kind, caring, slow, thoughtful way, share with your partner how you're feeling. Share with them what you're concerned about. Share with them what you can do for them today. We have daily check-ins every morning. We have coffee together for 30 minutes. Around yoga and cycling and my exercise and walking the dog, 30 minutes a day, we kind of establish where are we, how are we feeling, how are we showing up, how do we help each other out.
And sometimes that 30 minutes gets away from us, not going to lie, with social media pressures, YouTube comment responding, and so we do our check-in. I don't know if I'd give us the full 30 minutes anymore. I feel like that's really cut down to maybe 15 or 20, 1 cup of coffee, and then we got to roll.
Well, we should fix that.
Yeah, we should.
Because that's important.
Yeah, and we want to be honest about what we're really doing.
So I mean, here's a little tip. If you're just retired or whatever, spend 30 minutes each day checking in with each other.
Yeah, it's a good one.
All right, second one, financial transparency. Typically, one or the other of the spouses handles the money.
Right.
There now needs to be complete transparency with both on how much money you have, how much money's coming in, how much money's going out, what your big expenses are. understanding each other's spending habits, on Amazon or wherever. You need to really be open and transparent about that and not withhold anything.
Well, and I think it's important because you want to plan for any unexpected expenses, right? You want to talk about any financial fears or insecurities you might have, and then maybe even consult a financial advisor together. But really fully creating the space where, everybody, let's just all talk about what we're spending and what we're spending it on is a really good first step.
Well, and particularly if you both retire at the same time or one retires early, there's not the same amount of money coming in.
Right.
So there can't be the same amount of money going out. You've got to curtail your expenses, and that's a hard conversation to have.
Yeah.
No one wants to be told, we can't afford that, or I don't like you spend so much money on that.
Yeah.
But you have to be open about it.
And it's funny, the third thing is a lot of couples that we spoke to talked a lot about having shared and individual interests as one of the key cornerstones to cultivating a really healthy marriage as they age. Some common activities and hobbies they respect and support, also, though, their individual interests or needs.
So we have pickleball, we have golf, you have your own golf.
I have yoga.
You have yoga. I have cycling. So we have some stuff together. And then, dinner time when I'm cooking, Jody's helping me, or you're cooking, we're kind of in the kitchen together. So I think it's just, versus you do your thing, I do my thing, and
we'll meet at the end of the day.
Yeah, no. So you've got to really balance togetherness and independence.
Yep, and encourage each other to continue to grow and learn and try new things. A lot of times we have couples that one has a ton of hobbies and interests and one doesn't have any. So, it's really encouraging each other, I think, at the same time.
So as we age, our health and wellness becomes more important. So number 4 is sharing, building a life around health and wellness together. And that means exercising regularly together, adopting a healthy diet as a couple, making sure we both go see our doctors, and we actually have the same skin doctor, the same GP, the same naturopath doctor, so we go together.
Right.
I drive, Jody sits next to me. Or do you sit in the back, like driving Miss Daisy?
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah,
that could be Miss Daisy one
I
day.
think that doing that together and being open and honest about what the doctor says,
right,
and talking about medication, prioritizing sleep and rest, that's got to be an open part of your discussion. Again, this is about having a healthy marriage.
Right, and it's hard to prioritize sleep and rest if you're on different schedules.
Right.
Mark is a super early riser, 4 a.m. I'm more of a 6 o'clock girl. So, you like to get into bed a lot earlier. I commit to getting in bed at the same time as you, but then I want to read because I can't go to sleep that early. So it's just really having, again, that conversation, I think. The next one, which leads into quality time and romance, planning regular date nights even in retirement, celebrating anniversaries and special occasions, showing appreciation and affection every day.
How do we do that?
Well, when we wake up in the morning, you're already awake. I wake up and come out. I walk the dog, and I always come in and give you a kiss.
Yeah, before you brush your teeth.
I do.
Drives her
Is that
crazy.
bad?
It's a tight kiss. It's like this.
I'm a teeth brusher. I like a good teeth brush.
Well, to your point, you reach this phase of life, and maybe the romance is gone, or the flame is not as high. You really need to reignite that flame. You need to work on it. And if you need therapy, you should get therapy. But if you want a healthy romance, you need to have quality time together.
Right.
Healthy marriage. You need to have quality time together, and you need to have romance. I mean, if you have to schedule. Can I say sex?
Sure.
If you want to schedule sex, to have sex, schedule it. We did a great video on sex after 60 or something.
Yeah, with a therapist.
A therapist, and she at the end said, listen, if you're having trouble with sex and it's not happening, she gave us exercise at the end. Get into bed together naked, touch each other all over, but it can't be sexual.
Right.
Have we done that yet?
I don't know, but you went there really, really
Well,
fast.
I just thought about it. For people who are stuck here, because you're watching this video and you think, we don't have any romance. Don't give up.
Right. Don't give up. For sure.
All right.
For sure. Okay. The sixth thing would be navigating social changes, right? Building a social circle with other retirees, staying connected with family and friends, volunteering and engaging in community activities, All of these things to address any feelings of loneliness or isolation you might have. Even hosting gatherings, into your home together.
So we're having dinner tonight with friends that live across the street, another couple, and they become sort of our group therapy couple because we're really open about our marriages and our struggles and some things that we're doing new. That's like unheard of. But we are so comfortable with them and comfortable with each other. We're okay sharing and they're okay sharing.
Right.
And it's really nice to have another couple that you can talk openly about your relationship.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, number 7. Continuous learning and growth. This is really important. A lot of people think I'm done with my career and I'm just going to sit back. I don't really need to learn anything. Gosh, there's so much you can learn or relearn or unlearn the wrong way and learn the right way. You can take classes, you can do workshops together, share knowledge. We're always kind of quizzing each other on what we're learning. The big word for this, curiosity.
Yeah, stay curious.
Stay
I would agree
curious
with you.
and open to new experiences. I hate playing cards. I hate games. I really do.
You can just ask our kids because they ask him all the time.
So we had dinner with these couple we're seeing again tonight a week ago, and I said, "You guys want to come over at 5:30 for pizza and play cards?" I'm like, "Oh, the pizza part I like." I actually had the greatest time ever playing cards. I didn't want it to end.
I know.
And I went in there with a different mindset. I said, "You know what? Different experience. Everyone around me, all my kids, they love cards, and I don't.
Right.
It's not wrong with them, it's wrong with me."
So this is still under the continuous learning and growth bucket. So even a card game is a good thing.
Well, 7A, so right between 7 and 8, is learning how to play cards.
There you go.
So we know
we have to put it in there.
28.
Yep.
Adapting to a new home dynamic. You're both there full time now. It's different.
Right. It is different. You need to redefine household responsibilities and kind of create your own personal spaces within your home and discuss expectations about home life. Does one of you like to watch the morning news and the other wants to read the paper in quiet? Well, back in the day, one could go to the office and read the paper and the other could, get dressed while the news was on or whatever it might be. But there's going to be big changes and you really need to navigate those changes inside your daily routine and talk about it.
So when your dynamics are when you're a little out of sort, you're at home and you're out of sorts with what's happening, what your wife or husband is doing, you have to find time and space to address any conflicts promptly.
Right.
And constructively. I was always the worst. If things weren't the way I wanted them to be and they were out of sorts, I'd withdraw into my cave. And I would go in there and I'd shut down, I'd be quiet. That is the worst thing that I ever did to you. I don't think I do it anymore at all. Right. Maybe 10%. But I used to go 120% all in. And you'd say to me all day, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine." You're kind of quiet. Right. I just don't feel like talking.
But the difference was our home dynamics were changing and you weren't really
I wasn't
voicing
ready for it. I wasn't,
what you were concerned about.
I wasn't addressing the conflict properly. So now something happens, I say, "Hey, I want to let you know how what you just did made me feel." Not looking for a response, and just open up a line of communication.
Mm-hmm. The 9th thing would be respecting and understanding each other, just kind of in a broad category, right? Acknowledging and validating each other's feelings. Being patient with each other to any adjustments that is required as you move through this transition.
Yeah, and I think cultivating a feeling of empathy and compassion is really important, and respecting each other's viewpoints.
Right.
We don't agree on a lot of things.
Right.
But I respect your viewpoint, and you respect mine, and then we decide what we're going to do going forward.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think that practicing forgiveness, if you cannot forgive your partner for something they did 10 minutes ago or 10 years ago, you're going to carry that around, and it's going to be a wound that's going to prevent you from really getting close again.
I agree.
So
I agree. I'm not great at forgiving. You're really good at forgiving.
Do you forgive me for all of my sins?
Do I know all of your sins?
Well, to you.
Oh, yes.
Oh, good. So like we started fresh.
Gosh.
I'm glad we got to this one today. No, again, I joke around a lot.
You do.
Forgiveness is really important. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna say stupid things. We're gonna be a jerk sometimes. And I think you just need to apologize, own up to it, and forgive the other person.
Okay, the 10th thing is future planning. Really discussing long term goals and dreams. Plan for any potential health issues that one or the other of you might have. Consider your living arrangements later in life. What do you both envision that to look like? Update your wills, your legal documents, and talk about any legacy and family matters. Talk about them early and talk about them often.
And talk about them together.
Right.
You don't. Jody has 3 daughters. I have 3 sons. We have. I talk to my boys about certain things. Jody talks to her girls. But anything about future planning, trips, legacy, family matters, Jody and I talk to them together.
Right.
It's really important to be united on that,
Absolutely.
particularly with a blended family.
100%.
Yeah,
For sure.
All right. So there's a lot of change in this phase of life. So number 11 is embracing change together. Accepting the change that retirement brings.
Right.
You're both home now. You're both there all day long. And you need to be open to adjusting plans and your expectations. And gosh, you got to have a lot of flexibility, right?
Yeah, and you have to really realize, and we all need to realize, as this huge generation of us is embracing and moving in through the transition of retirement, that it is one of the top 20 most stressful events you'll ever go through in your life is retiring, oddly enough. So, celebrate this new phase of life together and support each other through the transition, even though you might not be at the same phase.
Yeah, I think that we talked about health before, and we talked about legacy, and talking about embracing change, taking care of each other as we age. One of the things that maybe we haven't talked enough about, really, is what if one of us gets sick?
Right. Yeah.
You're going to take care of me?
Of course I will.
Oh, good. No, but I think that's important because all of a sudden it's upon you,
Yeah.
and you haven't talked about it. Now it's kind of a shock.
Right.
So I think that's really important. Number 12, effective conflict resolution. Again, for me, I was really bad at this. I'm a lot better. But when there's some conflict, you really need to develop healthy ways to address disagreements. You can't blame. You want to focus on solutions.
Right.
You really don't want to blame the other person. Okay, something happened. What can we do to fix it?
Right. And you have to practice some active listening skills, right? Where you're asking questions along the way, not closed-ended questions, but open-ended questions, and really showing empathy for what the other person's going through. And feeling free to take a time out if this discussion gets heated. Mark will do that sometimes. He'll say, I'm full. I had enough. We're going to have to pause on this. And I'm right mid-stride.
And you get mad at me.
I do, because it's hard because I'm a task completion person. So I'm ready to just work it all out. And you need more time than I do. So working towards compromise for mutual satisfaction, I think, makes a big difference.
There's a couple I know that have a code word. I honestly think it was my brother and his wife, but there's a code word. So when things are getting heated, things are out of control, they had a code word that they would say, one of them would say, and that just kind of said, okay, it's time to take a break. Instead of continuing the yelling or the screaming or the pushing or the blaming, just saying, you know what, this isn't working right now. I want to come up with a solution, but we're headed in the wrong direction. Let's take a little pause.
Well, I know our daughter Evan and her boyfriend Hayden have a conversation where if it's going in the wrong direction, one or the other will say, let's roll that back.
Oh.
And that gives the person a chance to roll back the direction, or
What does that mean? Like undo what you just said?
No, not undo
like a free
it, but
card?
like let's roll that back because
Okay.
this isn't going in the right direction, and they
That's a
can
good
then have
strategy.
a conversation about redirecting the conversation. I thought it was a good strategy.
Again, this is about healthy marriages, healthy relationships. So these are all good tips and good ideas.
And the 13th one we kind of discussed a little bit earlier, but maintaining intimacy and closeness. Prioritizing your physical and emotional intimacy, which I think is really as important as the physical intimacy. Because as you get older, your intimacy needs change.
Yeah.
And be open to new ways of expressing love and kindness, right? Scheduling regular time for intimacy, which I think you already talked about.
When is that? Sundays at 3?
And is that when it is?
I don't know.
God, football's on. I don't know
It's
if that's a
I
good
tell you
time
what, it's
for
today
me.
at 5.
But also seeking professional help, if you need to face some challenges together.
Don't be afraid of getting therapy.
Right.
Either individually or as a couple. if you've been together for 20 or 30 or 40 years, gosh, don't, this whole saying about the grass is greener on the other side, it's so true. And do the best you can to work through your problems, but get some professional help if you need it. The other thing you really need is a supportive network.
Right.
And again, I talk about a couple across the street. He's a great guy for me to go to. He understands me. He understands Jody. He understands our relationship. I can talk to him about something I'm struggling with Jody. And he's really good at just saying, not really saying a lot, just listening. So building a supportive network for yourself and as a couple, I think is important.
Yeah, I think to really maintain friendships that enrich your marriage, right? Support your marriage. Connecting with individuals or other couples that are in the same life stage as you, participating in community or religious group, activities, that you can do together, and offering support to friends and then accepting that support back in return, I think is really important during this stage.
And I think the children too, our children are adults now. My sons are 30, I'll get this wrong, 38, 36, 34, more or less. They're grown young men.
Yeah, they are.
And they do provide a supportive network for me. We don't share like when we're struggling, but just to have conversations with them is helpful too. And you're really good with your daughters.
Yeah, but I think with the girls, I actually do share when I'm struggling because I value their perspective. So that might be a new layer for you and the boys.
Well, maybe a new layer for the girls and I, because I'm picking up Maddie tomorrow at the airport, and I'll be with her for an hour and a half, so I could check in with her on what you're telling her.
Okay.
Is that what we think?
That's fine.
Is that how it's going to go? All right. Setting personal and joint goals. A healthy marriage needs growth, it needs fun, it needs excitement, and you need to have some goals as a human being and as a couple. So we do a lot of individual goals, but we do a lot of joint goals.
We do. And celebrating those achievements, big and small, keeping each other accountable and motivated, is it's tricky, but it's something that I think really supports this one about setting goals.
And celebrate achievements. I'm almost finished with my book, and there's been a whole bunch of different achievements, and you've been my biggest fan.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I am too. But I think keeping each other accountable to their goals too, and being motivated is really important.
Okay.
Here's one we're struggling with.
Yeah, we struggle with this one. I'm surprised it's number 16.
Well, it's not in any kind of order,
yeah.
But managing time effectively. We have this business. We love it. YouTube channel's doing great. But, balancing personal time, couple time. So couple time for us is pickleball Tuesdays and Thursdays and golf on Thursday. And we're missing out on that right now.
Yeah.
We got the puppy.
We did get
little
the puppy.
Ruby, which helps. But you've really got to spend some time at this and allocate time for relaxation and leisure,
right,
for each other, and alone time.
And really prioritize the tasks and activities that are most important, and everything can't be important.
Right.
And then also be flexible to some spontaneous plans. I think that's where we really fail.
I love spontaneity. Did I say it right?
I think you did.
Spontaneity. 17, enhancing your emotional intelligence. This falls under communication, but really work on understanding each other's emotions. When I see that you are, I'm going to say, wound up or stressed or anxious, it's because you're concerned about making sure what you're working on people will appreciate and that it'll be the best that you can deliver. And that's a great thing that you feel that way. But I know it takes a lot of energy. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting much better at recognizing that you're not stressed out, you're not mad, you're not angry. You're just trying to make something really good for somebody else.
Right. And I think learning to express that constructively really helps. Because sometimes when you just say, well, what's the matter? And I'm like, well, nothing's the matter. I'm just deep into a research project, or I'm deep into writing a script, or I'm deep into, trying to find a new book that we can, help, with clients or whatever. But sometimes when you just say, "What's the matter?" It
I
puts
know.
me on my heels, for sure.
You like this is kind of like us kind of revealing. It's like doing therapy with a camera.
Exactly.
They're not saying anything.
I know.
Leave comments below. Let us know what you think. But the other thing is that Jody and I are getting really good at, and listen, we're a work in progress. So
Definitely.
we're a work in progress. But we're study this stuff for ourselves and for you. But recognize and appreciate each other's strengths,
Right.
and we're getting so much better at that. I kind of give you free liberty on what you're good at, and I don't worry about it.
Right.
And then we try to engage in activities that boost our emotional well-being. Sometimes we meditate together, we journal in the morning at the same time. So
here's a big one for couples, trying to stay together and happy, and that is really handling health challenges together. Really being prepared for age-related health issues, support each other through any health setbacks, share responsibility in healthcare management, and stay informed about each other's medical needs. This is the way to encourage a proactive approach to health and wellness. And I think we spout that a lot.
Well, we spout it, but we haven't dealt with it. We're very fortunate that both of us are healthy, and there's some minor things, but nothing really bad. Knock on wood. But someone left a comment on YouTube just this morning. She just retired. She's 62. Her husband is 20 years older. And because of that, they were married for a long time. Because of that, her dreams of traveling now have kind of vanished. And she's struggling with that.
Right.
And so things like that can happen to your relationship if one of you does get sick and they can't travel. So you really need to have backup plans or talk ahead of time that, if you do get sick, we're not going to travel.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. My sister-in-law's mom does that. Her husband can't travel for some health-related issues, and she goes everywhere, but they agree up front. The things that he can do locally, they do together, and then the things she does abroad, she does with girlfriends.
That's such a great example. We should really add that comment for that couple because there's something a 62 and an 80-year-old can do together.
Right.
And then the younger partner can still do some stuff alone.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely.
All right. Continue to foster mutual respect for each other. This feeling of, I don't know.
Taking advantage, taken for granted.
Yeah, is that, what are you making? Google
Just
eyes
kidding.
again. No, but you really want to stay consistent with your respect in words and actions. Appreciate each other's contributions to the relationship.
Yeah, and really celebrate each other's uniqueness, right? Practicing kindness and gratitude for each other every day, even on small things.
Yep.
This morning Mark made the bed. I'll be honest, that doesn't happen a lot.
What do you mean?
Well, I usually
20% of the
I'm
time.
the last person out of bed, so I figure I'm the person to make the bed. But this morning you made the bed, and it was really kind, and I was very grateful.
My friend John won't let his wife make the bed because he makes it so much better than anybody.
He does it tight.
He does it tight.
Does. All right, come on, number 20.
Plan for the unexpected. So plan for it. At least discuss it.
Right.
So discuss and prepare for unforeseen events.
Right.
A financial problem, a health problem, a death of a friend. And you need a contingency plan for emergencies. You really have to you have to talk about everything that could potentially happen, so at least you've talked about it. And when it happens, if it happens, you're not totally taken by surprise.
And really just stay adaptable to life's surprises, right? This time of life, there will be some surprises, but building a support system with you and your spouse together for tough times, really, really helps, and it helps you maintain a positive outlook through all those challenges.
And this next one is really what saved our marriage, really. Cultivating a sense of humor. I'm the class clown. I'm the joker. I create all of the happiness around the house because I get you to laugh every day.
Really believe that?
No. But we do push ourselves on sense of humor. Look, we're laughing now. Laugh together regularly. See, I did it.
I think it's more important. Mark does think he's the funniest man alive.
I am.
And, he'll always say, "I'm so funny." And I'm like, yeah, that one didn't land. But I do think it's important not to take yourself so seriously in this phase of life, especially if you're trying new hobbies, trying new activities, trying new things, trying new groups, trying new religions, whatever you're trying that's new, you may or may not be good at it. So don't take yourself so seriously.
Here's what I do, and it does get me in trouble. I use humor to diffuse tension. If there's tension, I'll try to crack a joke. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll crack a joke and you'll say, I can't believe you just said that.
Right.
I'm trying to be serious.
Yeah.
But I feel tension, and that's what I.
Or sometimes you'll just do that laugh.
Well, yeah. Sometimes I just start laughing.
He just starts laughing, and we're in the middle of like a tough topic, and he'll just start laughing, and then I just get incensed and just crazy. So.
And I'm laughing because
You're nervous.
I'm nervous. Plus, I'm thinking maybe she's explained it enough. When is she going to take a breath? Give me a chance to weigh in.
Thanks so much.
It could be that.
All right, number 22, sharing responsibilities equitably, right? So dividing some household chores. This is important as you are going to spend 7 days a week, 24 hours a day together, dividing chores fairly, discussing and agreeing on decision-making process around different things, and both of you showing financial responsibility during this phase. I think that's a pretty easy one to get your head around, but it's something that needs to be done.
Well, not necessarily. You have to communicate about
Right.
it. If someone thinks they're doing more of the household chores or responsibilities than the other, you need to say that.
Right.
I mean, I feel badly that you make the bed every day, like you just said on YouTube, but I'll do it more.
You'll
All right.
what?
I don't know. I'm glad you make the bed when you make it. But
All right.
I made it today, and I think I did a
We're
good job.
almost to the end.
All right.
Number
23.
23.
Practicing gratitude and appreciation. So I journal every morning, and I write down my 3 gratitudes. My first one is always Jody, with a hyphen and something about her I'm grateful for. And I know you sneak in and look at it sometimes because you leave little heart signs and you leave little notes. But listen, I practice gratitude every day with Jody. And it's helped our relationship a lot.
I think it definitely has.
When you really screw up, which is rare, but you have, doesn't matter anymore. Our relationship is bulletproof.
I wonder
How's
if we
that?
should do a whole YouTube segment on when Jody screwed up. I'd
No,
love to see
it's
what
very
that's
rare,
about.
very rare, everyone. But no, and also, again, I'm joking. Practicing gratitude and appreciation for the other person is important. It doesn't hurt. It's not that hard to say thank you.
And it doesn't have to be big acts. It can be small acts of kindness.
Thank you for making the bed. Thanks for emptying the
Right.
dishwasher.
Yeah.
Thanks for cooking dinner.
Right.
No, that's what I want to hear more of.
Okay.
Keeping a gratitude journal together. I haven't really looked in your journal
Oh,
recently.
you haven't?
Am I in there?
You're in there.
All right.
You and little Rubalicious.
All right.
Number 24, investing in personal development. I think it's important, and we've done some research that it is important to encourage each other's individual growth. Supporting the new hobbies or educational pursuits that one or the other of you might want to do, and share some learning insights with your partner as you go along the way.
We're the king and the queen of this. We are so into personal development. We can't wait to get our hands on a new book that someone recommended to us. We do a lot of reading for you guys. I mean, all of these 25 came from books and research. So we invest a lot in personal development. Not money, but just time. And we share it with each other and we challenge each other. It really is helpful.
All right, so here's number 25. And then stay tuned because we have the 5 action steps we're going to leave you with. Celebrate your milestones and your retirement achievements.
Celebrate your retirement
Milestones.
Milestones. Yeah, we're married 14 years this past August.
Yeah,
coming
be
on
15
15
next year.
I'm 67. You'll be 42.
I'll be 42. I love that
I don't
idea.
know. But I think reflecting on your journey and your growth
Right.
together is important. And we do talk about this a lot. We've come
Yeah.
a long way from 15 years ago or 17 years ago, whatever. And, we're always readapting, rethinking about our future milestones. And
And really, these retirement experiences that we're having, we try to share them with each other. Whether it's, hey, I'm really nervous, I'm joining a ladies golf league. I'm not a great golfer, I'm just a learner, and I don't know a person there, and I'm nervous. But I shared that with you in a vulnerable way. You said, just go get them, but go get them. Go get them.
you got it.
You got it. But,
All right.
Okay, so here are the 5 action steps. 5 action steps you can take to build a healthy marriage.
First one, can't say it enough, open and honest communication.
Yep.
You want to schedule regular, uninterrupted time to talk about your day, your feelings, and your concerns. And the other person needs to practice active listening, empathy, and understanding. And again, show your appreciation and gratitude every single day.
I agree. Number 2 is joint financial planning. We don't do financial planning, but reviewing and adjusting your retirement budget together, being transparent about spending habits and financial goals, and plan for any long-term needs, including your healthcare needs. That's really important to do, and I think it's an important step for everyone.
It is. Shouldn't be any undisclosure about your financial situation. No surprises. Number 3, prioritizing health and wellness. Cannot emphasize this enough. Communication, knowing your finances, and being health conscious is really, really important. We have a joint exercise routine, pickleball and golf. Golf isn't really exercise, but we do physical activities together.
Right.
We eat together, so we adopt a healthy diet.
Right.
We walk together. We go to the doctors together. We support each other with our medical concerns, and we do stress-reducing activities. You do yoga, I do meditation, mindful walk. So prioritizing health and wellness will lead to a healthier marriage.
And the 4th thing is to cultivate those shared and individual interests. Identify hobbies and activities you can do together and encourage and support each other to pursue individual passions. I think we talked about that one enough, but that's a really important one.
Number 5.
This is it.
Might be hard for you guys, but regular relationship check-ins. We do it every day. We check in with each other every single day. I'll admit this morning was a little bit rough.
So this morning was a little crazy.
A little rough. And we didn't really get a chance to talk about it, but we kind of aired it today on here, so I feel better. I didn't get a kiss this morning, but that's all right. But celebrate your accomplishments and milestones in your marriage. Revisit and revise your goals, but gosh, just have a check-in on how you're doing as a couple.
So listen, we covered a lot here today, and we hope you made some notes and have a good list to start working on your marriage together.
So if you like this video, this next one, don't make these marriage mistakes, will be great to watch. We outline all the mistakes that you can make that you shouldn't, and it really complements what you learned here today. So watch this next.